Hey, we're in May and it is Asian American Pacific Islanders month. Yay! Fun fact about me, I am a quarter Japanese from my mom's mother's side. She fell in love with my grandfather during one of the wars. You probably know which one. And they had to get married 3 separate times because no one would recognize their marriage until, it had been done. So yeah, fun fact, fun tidbit, good stuff for you. I have a great episode. Let me get my disclosures out of the way and we will get into it. As always, I am your host, Jason, and the information is pulled from different sources across the internet and may or may not be completely complete, but they do give you really good insight on the current superhero. You can always catch me every Tuesday and Thursday throughout the day on Outworld Fleet Radio. Their website is outworldfleetradio.online. They updated their web address. You should update it too. Give them a listen. It's awesome. You can catch me on Twitter or Instagram under superdeepdive, and I try to use the hashtag superherodeepdive. You can email me directly at b4itall, so b4itall at yahoo.com. And you can catch me on YouTube under Superhero Deep Dive, where you can like, subscribe, comment, share it, help me grow the channel. I'm at about 1,500. I've been at about 1,500 subscribers for about a month now, so I think it's pretty secure in that. I should be doing a giveaway soon, so let's keep in tune for that. Alright, this week I am covering Mockingbird. Who's Mockingbird, you ask? It's not the lady with the bow that was hungry so much. She is awesome. She is like a super spy. Yeah, I can't wait to get into her, because in the early 90s, West Coast Avengers was kind of a thing, and it was, believe it or not, it was actually one of my go-to books back then because it kind of had a light, airy feel to it, and I liked how it wasn't so serious. And she was in that team, the West Coast Avengers, so this is definitely a throwback for me. Alright, her real name is Barbara Bobby Morse, and Dr. Morse was born and raised in San Diego, California. San Diego. You all know what that's for. Alright. She excelled in school and later attended the Georgia Institute of Technology, specializing in biology, earning a PhD under Dr. Wilma Calvin. I find it funny because it's the Georgia Institute of Technology, and Georgia's kind of got this stigma of being like a southern state, so she went to GIT. She got her diploma from GIT. She earned a doctorate from GIT. I'm sorry. That's goofy. Anyway, she joined Dr. Calvin on working on Project Gladiator. The project was backed by S.H.I.E.L.D., who wanted to recreate the super soldier serum that created Captain America. During the course of her project, S.H.I.E.L.D. trained Bobby to be a spy, and she was given the codename Agent 19. The team for Project Gladiator consisted of Dr. Ted Sallis and Dr. Paul Allen, whom she was ordered to start a relationship with so that she could investigate suspicions that he was involved with AIM, which is Advanced Idea Mechanics, and Dr. Allen and Ellen Brandt, who were in fact secretly working for AIM, sabotaged the project, and Sallis was transformed into the Man-Thing. Maybe I should do a deep dive on the Man-Thing. That's a great idea. I'm gonna add it to my list right now, because I do things in real time or else I forget about them. Anyways, okay, so Bobby Morse, she traveled to the Savage Land with Dr. Paul Allen in search of Kazar. However, their plane crashed, with Paul being saved by Kazar and Bobby being rescued by the British of New Britannia. Now Bobby is Bobby Morse, she's Mockingbird. They recruited Kazar and brought him back with them to Florida, because where else are you gonna go? You're gonna go to Florida. He'll fit right in there. In Florida, Paul revealed his true affiliation with AIM, and Barbara admitted, or that's Bobby, admitted that her engagement to him was a sham on S.H.I.E.L.D. orders. Soon afterwards, Alan was destroyed by the Man-Thing. With Kazar, she traveled to New York and helped defeat Victorious, not the Nick Jr. or the Nick Teen group, but there was a different person named Victorious. Kazar and Zabu returned, but not before Kazar and Bobby shared a farewell kiss. She later visited the Savage Land again to help on his many adventures, but ultimately returned home to the United States. You know, I have a real big problem with Victorious, because I've never heard of this person before this, which means they weren't like a big bad guy. That means they lost a lot, and their name is Victorious. I'm just gonna let that sink in. We're gonna have a moment of silence for Victorious. You ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's enough. That's actually way more silence than Victorious deserved. Anyways, Bobby's penchant for taunting her opponents in battle earned her the code name of Mockingbird. I like this lady. She went on a mission by Nick Fury to stop Carl DeLanden, and on the way she teamed up with Spider-Man. During this mission, a misunderstanding caused some S.H.I.E.L.D. agents to shoot at her, and she spent some time in a coma. Because that's what you do when you get shot, I guess. Afterwards, she decided to fake the death of her civilian identity in order to keep her family safe. I can see the logic there. She was also one of the many heroes recruited in the Contest of Champions. And Morse was also a freelance agent when she met Clint Barton, who is Hawkeye. At the time, he was serving as chief for security for cross-technological enterprises, and she had heard reports of a mind control device being manufactured by the company. They teamed up to investigate and were eventually captured by Crossfire, who wanted to use the hypnotic ultrasounds to force superheroes to kill each other. Hawkeye and Mockingbird defeated Crossfire, as they would, but Hawkeye suffered hearing damage due to the villain's ultrasound technology. Hawkeye and Mockingbird eloped a few days later. So he's like, hey, you know, I'm deaf in one ear, which is perfect for a marriage. Let's do it. You know, sounds like a plan. Now married, they returned to join the Avengers as a couple. The Vision, then Avengers chairman, appointed him to head a new branch of the team on the West Coast. Hawkeye chose Bobby as one of his team members along with Iron Man, Wonder Man, and Tigra. We did a deep dive on Tigra. She's awesome. Clint and Bobby served as the motivating force behind the team. A rift between Bobby and Hawkeye grew when Mockingbird proved instrumental in a plot by several world governments to abduct and dismantle the Vision for his near takeover of the world, giving them access to the Avengers compound. Bobby initially believed the plot was only a contingency plan, only to learn it was being put into action, with additional steps like a false Ultron and incapacitating the Scarlet Witch that put her friends' lives at risk. Bobby tried to stop the plot and was imprisoned for a time, only escaping to warn the Avengers that it was too late to save the Vision. However, they were able to recover the Vision's body and restore all his memories. So, is that like a no harm, no foul thing? I don't know, maybe. Let's keep going. Hearing that a Midwestern-based team was using the name Great Lakes Avengers, because they're awesome, Hawkeye took Mockingbird along with him to investigate. After determining that these imposters had no malicious intent, Clint and Bobby took it upon themselves to train this neophyte crime-fighting team. In the wake of the Avengers receiving a United Nations charter, both active teams were revamped. Bobby received only one vote to become an active member. Hawkeye had left the Great Lakes Avengers earlier to return to the West Coast Avengers, and Bobby assumed that he was the one that voted for her. Clint actually rejected the idea, asking why he would ever vote to have his ex-wife hanging around, so they had gotten divorced during this time. Bobby later found out that it was actually a U.S. agent who cast a vote for her, mostly to bug Hawkeye. That's funny. It's kind of a dick move, but that's funny. I can Good job, U.S. agent. Good job. Alright. After Operation Galactic Storm, during which Bobby was part of the team of reservists who remained on Earth, the West Coast Avengers and Vision encountered Ultron once again. This time, he was accompanied by his latest mate, Alchema, whose brain patterns had been based on Mockingbird's. Alchema, however, turned on Ultron and the Avengers won the day. Clint, who had recently resumed his Goliath identity, seemingly managed to reconcile with his estranged wife at this time. In fact, a Skrull kidnapped Bobby and replaced her with a sleeper agent called Herpra prior to Bobby and Clint's reconciliation. She went through the Skrull infiltration. Let me try that again. She went through the Skrull infiltration ritual, thank you, which gave her all of Bobby's memories and abilities. She served with the team for some time, but the Skrull Bobby was captured by Satanish, the Supreme, and the West Coast Avengers embarked upon what would be their last mission. The team battled the combined forces of Satanish and Mephisto, and during their escape, the Skrull Bobby was killed by Mephisto. Shortly thereafter, the Vision disbanded the West Coast team. The Skrulls put the real Bobby in a replica of the West Coast Avengers compound and planted Skrull versions of her teammates in order to trick her into spilling security secrets. She escaped but was surprised to find herself stranded on an alien planet. For the next few years, she survived in hiding on the Skrull planet, gaining herself a reputation as the Robed Witch, a scary figure in Skrull's children's ghost stories. That's actually pretty cool. That's pretty dope. She eventually came out of hiding to kill the Skrull who had posed as Clint. After she killed him, she was recaptured and placed together with the rest of the prisoners from Earth. Another Skrull was among a group who believed themselves to be the people they were actually impersonating, and who crash landed in the Savage Land, only to eventually be killed by Clint Barton. After the climactic battle between the Skrulls and Earth's hero during the secret invasion, which this could be important because we're having the movie come up soon, so some of these may overlap into the movie as far as plot elements. But during Secret Invasion, the individuals replaced by Skrull agents were revealed to be alive and well, including Bobby. She was apparently one of the first people captured and replaced. The returned Mockingbird then joined her estranged husband and his teammates in the New Avengers. Bobby later formed her own private spy organization, the World Counterterrorism Agency, or WCA, because she likes the same acronym as West Coast Avengers. She was joined on one of her first missions by her husband, Clint Barton, as when he was in his Ronin identity, and they reconciled over the Phantom Rider issue once and for all. Now, the Phantom Rider issue, I skipped over a lot of that. She was kind of like thrown back in time for a period, and the Phantom Rider is actually the very first Ghost Rider. They just renamed him Phantom Rider because it was a guy on a horse. And back then, like, they fell in love. There wasn't a whole lot as far as character development. It kind of happened, and then they briefly talk about it every so often, but it's not like it really changed her or developed her character at all. So I did skip that part. After Norman Osborn was replaced by Steve Rogers, the Avengers teams were reorganized and Bobby joined Luke Cage's team. She and Clint separated after a particularly intense WCA mission involving a new Phantom Rider, Jamie Slade, and because he became possessed by her great-great-great-granduncle Lincoln after an encounter with the heroes. When in pursuit of criminals, the two had nearly wrecked the vehicles Jamie was riding in, damaging part of the artifacts she discovered with her father, one of which was the urn holding Lincoln's ashes. That night, Lincoln's spirit visited both Mockingbird and Jamie, giving Jamie powers and compelling her to seek out another foe of Mockingbird and Hawkeye, the guy Crossfire. During a confrontation with Superia, She was grievously injured. To save her life, Clinton had Nick Fury inject her with a formula that was a functional combination of the Infinity Formula and the Super Soldier Serum. If I remember correctly, and please let me know if I'm wrong, the Infinity Formula just kind of helped with healing and granted long life. I don't think it really accentuated anything except for the fact that you extended your lifespan, you age slower, and you heal. Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments on YouTube under Superhero Deep Dive. I didn't look it up. It's definitely, if you know it, please let me know, because I think it's kind of cool. Alright. Let's see here. Mockingbird was later assigned by Nick Fury to be the official S.H.I.E.L.D. liaison to Parker Industries, who at the time was developing new tech for S.H.I.E.L.D. Here, she helped Spider-Man take down Mr. Negative's operation in Shanghai, disband Zodiac, and destroy Norman Osborn's Goblin Army. Around the same time, she also became a S.H.I.E.L.D. handler to Silk, who we did a deep dive on. She's awesome. Who was working undercover to infiltrate Black Cat's gang in exchange for S.H.I.E.L.D. looking for information on Silk's missing parents. However, the information was scarce and slow coming during Cindy's investigation, and Cindy is Silk, so during Silk's investigation, but was still successful to leading Silk to her parents trapped in the Negative Zone dimension. After Silk rescued her parents, Mockingbird put up the Moon family in one of her safe houses. Sometime later, she got romantically involved with Lance Hunter, and their relationship was going quite well in spite of the fact that Mockingbird, by mistake, Freudian slip, or just for teasing him, often called him Clint. You know, I don't care how secure you are as a guy, if your girl keeps calling you her ex-husband's name, or like her ex-boyfriend's, just her ex's name, that's a big red flag. That's a big red flag. I don't care how secure you are. A couple times I can understand it, because I think we've all been there at one point in our lives. But if it keeps happening, that's a big red flag. If she's doing it intentionally, where there's really no feeling for the ex, then she's messing with you, and that's bad news. Like, it's just more than teasing you. But that's Mockingbird's history. What do you guys think? I mean, it's pretty interesting, right? Like, she has had a lot going on, and she has done it all herself, pretty much. She was a Skrull. She got past that. She survived on a Skrull planet. Just, like, hiding in the shadows. Like, that is straight up. That's not just like, oh yeah, she's a super spy. That is straight up skill. Like, good job. I love this for her. Let me get to her powers. But in the meantime, if you guys have anything to add as far as her history goes, if you know about the Infinity Formula, let me know. You can catch me on Twitter or Instagram under Super Deep Dive. You can email me directly at b4itall, so b4itall at yahoo.com. Or if you're on YouTube, catch me on YouTube under Superhero Deep Dive. Comment, like, subscribe, share. Let me know in the comments. Because I love having conversations with people with this. And if it opens it up to other people to add in stuff too, as long as we keep it respectful, I am 100% behind it. If it gets disrespectful, I'll delete it. Because that's not cool. No one needs that. No one needs that on their plate. But let me get into her powers. Mockingbird was described as one of the most powerful agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Writing, there have been a lot of formidable agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the organization's long comic history. While many know Bobby Morse as the superhero Mockingbird or S.H.I.E.L.D.'s Agent 19, she's also Dr. Barbara Morse, a genius in biology. Her PhD in the field led her to working on Project Gladiator in the Everglades, the same super soldier program that led to Ted Sallis becoming Man-Thing. Aside from her expert knowledge, she's also one of the most skilled S.H.I.E.L.D. agents there is. Introduced in Astonishing Tales number 6 in 1971, Bobby was almost a throwaway character before being crafted over the course of several comics into the genius badass we all know and love. David Harth of CBR.com, which is Comic Book Resources, called Mockingbird one of the greatest Avengers, asserting that the Avengers boast a vast array of mighty heroes. The greatest among them rely on their inner strength, standing courageous in the face of danger. Mockingbird made a name of herself at S.H.I.E.L.D., injected with a variant of the super soldier serum. Agent Bobby Morse became Mockingbird and joined up with the Avengers, eventually marrying Hawkeye and helping found the West Coast Avengers. She was the heart and soul of the team, never shying away from the front line, which is awesome. They wrote this so well. Mockingbird had some enhancements including rapid healing, but she was only human. That never stopped her from throwing herself into battles that would have killed her 1,000 times over. She survived every obstacle, including years in a Skull prison, her courage getting her through it all. That was an amazing summary of Mockingbird there. She also had these battle staves that she used. Like the batons and stuff. She used those expertly. She was awesome with it. Her costume was really cool. It's kind of like black and white. Sometimes it was sometimes she was leggy, sometimes it had full pants. But the sleeves always kind of had this it was almost like bell bottom, but for the sleeves. They flared out. It was a really cool kind of mask. I mean, it was just a solid design, and for who she was and what she did, it worked. The design worked. It was clean. It was pretty simple. It worked. But fun facts. Bobby Morse and Agent 19 of S.H.I.E.L.D. appear as separate characters in media sets in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Morse appears in the MCU television series Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. portrayed by Adrian Palicki. Debuting in the episode A Hen in the Wolf House, she was assigned to work undercover within Daniel Whitehall's Hydra branch to protect Gemma Simmons before extracting her after their cover is blown. Palicki appeared in a recurring role before she was promoted to the series' main cast following the episode Aftershocks. Additionally, she was previously married to mercenary Lance Hunter, with whom she got back together while working as full-time agents for S.H.I.E.L.D. Director Phil Coulson they were working as full-time agents for S.H.I.E.L.D. director Phil Coulson until they are forced to leave the organization following an incident in Russia during the episode Parting Shot. A Mockingbird series was actually in development at ABC Family in 2011. After the successful introduction of the character in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., a spin-off titled Marvel's Most Wanted, starring Palicki as Morris and Nick Blood as Hunter, received a pilot order from ABC in August of 2015. On May 12, 2016, however, ABC announced it did not pick up the Most Wanted for a series. That could have been really cool, though. I like that idea of her being almost like a superhero bounty hunter, that's pretty cool. At least for a premise. In September 2020, Jeffrey Thorne revealed he had written a pilot for Mockingbird, with Palicki reprising the role. Laura Barton appears as a retired Agent 19 in the MCU films Avengers Age of Ultron and Endgame, as well as the Disney Plus miniseries Hawkeye, portrayed by Linda Cardellini. Mockingbird makes a cameo in Hawkeye's ending in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 as a member of his new West Coast Avengers. She also appears as a playable character in the game Avengers Academy and in the Facebook game Marvel's Avengers Alliance. Marvel also appears as a playable character in LEGO Marvel's Avengers. Additionally, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. incarnation is also featured as a downloadable content. Mockingbird appears as a playable character in Marvel Future Fight and in Marvel Puzzle Quest. And while Bobby was married to Clint, she at one point had a miscarriage. If the pregnancy had gone to term, then the baby would have likely been born on October 12th. Mockingbird has been a SHIELD agent level 6. I don't know what that is, but that's pretty cool. For her to be considered one of the best SHIELD agents of all time, I'll take that, right? Mockingbird is also a Gemini. And in New Avengers Volume 2, Number 11, the doctor attending Bobby estimated her age as 30 years old. So, what do you guys think? Like, we've gone through her history, we've gone through her powers, fun facts about her. I liked it. I found that she was a Gemini. I found that, she had a miscarriage. So she had fought through a lot in her life. It's just so much going through. But let me give my final thoughts on this. So wow, Mockingbird is absolutely awesome. I've always loved this character, but I had no idea that she did everything that she did. I knew her when she was on West Coast Avengers, and she could fight with the best of them and made battle staves cool before Nightwing did. You can quote me on that. She was never really big, but she was a staple in the West Coast, which in my opinion was a more fun team because it was written without as much seriousness as the main Avengers. And anyways, what do I think of Mockingbird? She had a run in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I think that was okay. I like the idea for the Marvel's Most Wanted series, because that would be a really cool way. I mean, if you think about it, that'd be a really cool way to introduce some of the lower level villains. And even introduce some of the characters, like some of the heroes, that may make impacts on other movies or other shows. I mean, theoretically speaking, like, what if they did this and she ran into Kamala? Not Kamala. Is it Kamala, the Miss Marvel? Is her name Kamala? Or is that just the Vice President? Or is it both? I can't remember because I'm drawing a blank. But yeah, like, what if she ran into her? Because Miss Marvel is still doing some training, like she's still, she's got a movie coming up, but during that time, theoretically speaking, she could have still been trying to get the hang of things. So, it's just stuff like that. Like, that could have really worked. But I don't think they did a good job with the character in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, I hope this doesn't ruffle feathers, because it wasn't the actress. It wasn't Adrienne Palicki, because I think she's awesome. I'm actually a fan of hers. I think it was the writing and losing the fun-loving character that she was that did it for me. I just don't think that she was that fun-loving in it. There was always, like, she always had that seriousness, because that's how they wrote it, and that was kind of the mood of the show. So I wasn't a big fan of the character in that, but I love the character in the comics. So would she work in the MCU? I don't really think so. I think they should just kind of keep it how it is, and I would, however, love to see her in an animated series. Like, let's have fun with her and her adventures, instead of putting her in a more serious spin on everything. Like, let's just have fun with it, right? That's all I really have for that. What do you guys think? Let me know. Like I said, you can catch me on Twitter or Instagram under superdeepdive. My DMs are always open. I get messages every so often. I post superhero memes all the time. You can catch me on Outward Fleet Radio every Tuesday and Thursday throughout the day. Their website is outworldfleetradio.online, and there's a lot of other shows. There's a lot of things that are geek oriented. I would strongly advise, listen to it while you're at work or something. Just put it on the computer. It's great. Good background noise too. But you can also catch me on YouTube under Superhero Deep Dive. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's have a conversation. Did I miss anything? Do you have requests for future episodes? I am all about it, because I have pages of heroes to work with, and it doesn't seem like it's slowing down. So I'm good to go, and I'm ready to take on your things. Also, you can email me if you ever want to. I do get emails frequently from people that just don't want to be like called out publicly, or they may have an opposing view or something, and that's fine. Like if you don't want to, you can email me directly. My email address is b4itall, so b4itall@yahoo.com. You can always email me. I think it's great. But I think I'm gonna head out. Got lots to do, lots to take care of, lots of superheroes to cover. So in the meantime, I hope everyone is blessed. I hope everyone is happy. I hope everyone is safe, and I hope everyone is smart. But if you're not smart, don't get caught. I'll see you guys later. Tune in next week. Bye-bye.